World is desperate for a vaccine against COVID-19. Even with the united and compromised efforts from the scientists all over the world, they are estimating about 12 to 18 months will be needed to get a new vaccine or medicine of that novel coronavirus. Why, with all cutting-edge technologies, we need that many time to have a medicine against a microscopic invader? Today we will learn about how our scientists make a new vaccine in an oversimplified way. In a nutshell, we can divide the process of making new vaccine in 5 different steps. In step 1, scientists focus on the mechanism of pathogen and how it invades our body and how it spreads and eventually cause diseases. In the same time, they are trying to figure out the possible ways in which that pathogen can be treated or defected. It can be compared with a military operation. At first, the platoon observes the activities of enemies and monitor their activities to find out a weak point, then they plan an attack. In the field of medicine and vaccinology, it can take up to 4 to 6 years depending on the resources invested on the project. In step 2, scientists are now trying to find candidates of the vaccines. By studying the results from the step 1, they may figure out how they will deal with pathogen in the human body and how they produce immunity in the human body against that pathogens. Then they test the vaccine samples in test tubes. If they get possible result here, they go to the next step. This step can take up to 1 year. Step 3 is also called as preclinical trial. In that step, vaccine samples are tested on animals to get a better view to predict the possible response in humans. By doing so, scientists can also observe the effectiveness of a vaccine. In this process we use monkeys, guinea pigs and mice. This step is very important for research, because if this step fails to show promise, then they have to go back to the step 2 again. If everything goes well, it may take about a year. Step 4, also known as clinical trial. This is the most crucial part in development of vaccine. In that step, vaccines are applied to human. It has 3 different phases. In phase 1, they applied on a few dozens of healthy people to observe how safe the vaccine is or the vaccine has any adverse effects on human. If the phase 1 goes well, then they go to the phase 2 with a few hundreds of people to be applied. They are basically those people who have the risk of getting infected. If it goes well, they step to the phase 3, where that vaccine will be applied to a few thousands of people. That total process may take a couple of years. In the last step, researchers submit their data to get regulatory approvals and then they start mass production. So, in the current circumstances, researchers all around the world doing work together, which speeding up the process. They are also using the research data from SARS-CoV-1, though there are significant differences available between these 2 viruses. In that dying situation, vaccine that pass phase 1 clinical trial can be applied to the population with a greater risk. But it has its own risk, so the permission from the responsible authority should be needed.